Cool. You talked about how you decided to go through with this whole thing, right? And here's the second question, or rather, maybe even two questions. First, who was the initiator of the idea to buy the yacht? Is it you or your husband?
What do you think comes to your mind first?
For some reason, I think it was you, definitely.
Actually, Vasily, he's from Transnistria, and he learned to dive the very year we went north. And when I told him, listen, you're definitely going to like this, you have to give it a try, we didn't even know if he would get seasick or not.
So he trusted and believed in him that much, and now he is actually the captain of the yacht because he feels it down to the smallest details. He loves tuning the sails to really squeeze out the maximum speed, so everyone is still a racer, even on yachts. So when you're going at the speed of a little bicycle and another even smaller bicycle is next to you, you're still racing. Adjust the sails to be faster. Pull out your fish, it's slowing us down, come on. We also need to add a half knot. In general, this is such a cool entertainment during transitions, these slow transitions. And now Vasily, it turns out we even call him Cap among ourselves. Captain. Because he is completely on familiar terms with the yacht. He has gone through it entirely. There's no part he hasn't tried or touched. And Zim. I trust him in making such complex decisions. So one way or another, we make decisions together. They say there's only one captain on a yacht. But it just so happened that as a family crew, we make decisions together. It's not like I said, we're all going to Ibiza. No, that's not the case. So we simultaneously choose the most comfortable direction for us. What we will be doing there, we plan the duration of our stay in advance, and we make decisions together. If during the transition we realize that someone is uncomfortable, like the kids are feeling unwell or something else, we need to stop, so we agree on that and then decide what to do next. He has amazing endurance. During the night watches, he lets me get some sleep here, so he stays up until morning. By the time I go outside, the poor guy is practically falling asleep at the helm. And we have such good mutual support. In bad weather, I'm at the helm because I can't just sit by. I get really anxious and worried, and I feel more comfortable when I can control the situation. I can stand at the helm for 10 hours, 15, or even 17. I get really anxious and worried, and I feel more comfortable when I can control the situation. I can stand at the helm for 10 hours, 15, or 17, and he always lets me get some sleep. He has always been very caring about sleep because it's really important. Actually, when you're sailing on a yacht, it's important to rest and relax comfortably.
Got it. So, my question was about who the initiator was, and I was really curious, so I asked, how did you feel on the first day, or when you bought it? What was that like? And even more interesting, I guess, is how your family and friends reacted, and so on. It's so different, because it's one thing when you're living with it, you dive deep into it, read forums, and share with your husband, and it's another thing when you have friends and family who knew you as the regular Lena living in Moscow, and then suddenly, bam, Lena is on a yacht. So, how did that period go for them?
It was a very interesting transition because when we decided to come to the yacht and we working towards that goal, I was pregnant. So not only were we actively driving around Europe during that time, and everyone was shaking their heads, saying, what are you doing? You need to stay home because a pregnant woman is actually a sick woman, which we strongly refuted. And all our relatives were against it, and they are still against it. Every time we call, the first question is, so have you changed your mind? So it's been 7 years already, but still, have you changed your mind? Because they think there are more opportunities on land. Actually, I would say the opposite. I think it's all because they're just scared and they haven't tried it. A lot of people who live on land have a lot of fears related to the sea, and until you dive in and experience it, you can't understand that traveling by sea is actually a very safe way to go. It all depends on you, and the key is to choose the right weather and make the right decisions. Here it is. Our friends were very supportive of us. We have some who were surprised and said that we were crazy. There were a few who were completely on our side and followed us because we documented all our movements and posted our updates on Facebook. And there was a very interesting case when we were in the Netherlands and when we were in Norway. We lived on the opposing islands. We went through the workaway site to help restore a Norwegian house, and we lived there for a whole month. We went through the workaway site to help restore a Norwegian house, and we lived there for a whole month. So the Swedish owners, When they found out that we wanted to buy a yacht, they also shook their heads. Because, I mean, how can freelancers buy a yacht? Designers and programmers, that's impossible because a yacht must cost a lot of money. And then, when we were about to buy a yacht, one of the yachts was parked right across from their house. And we asked them to take a look at it, so they went, took a look, and in the end we didn't buy it. But later, when we bought our own, they came to visit us and we even took them out on the boat. At first, when people found out about yachts, it was a big refusal because people are afraid, they carry their fears. And then, when we moved, a lot of people came over to our side and even tried it themselves.
Is it true that a certain number of people just fell out of your life? Well, I mean, maybe from family, maybe from friends, just, I don't know, it could be a mixed story. On one hand, maybe they got envious or something, but are there people who just, with the change in your life, essentially fell out of it?
It's hard to say because when I started moving towards yachts, for example, I had 100 friends on Facebook. Facebook, right? I didn't have Instagram or YouTube, and now I have a total of 30,000 followers, most of whom are friends, so I can't really say that anyone has fallen out. I would even say that on the contrary, they began to follow, and it became interesting what we were doing, how we were moving, because it was such an interesting environment, active, aggressive, scary, unapproachable, and many people dream about it. So even those who would not like it, it was still interesting to watch. Especially traveling with a child on a yacht.
Listen, I get that, but it seems to me, just from what you said, that you've kind of moved into the realm of being some sort of influencer or blogger, right? And specifically the relationships that were there in terms of, again, friendships or family ties. I'm not talking about with my husband, I mean like with a brother, sister, or someone else you maintained a relationship with. Did those relationships stay the same, or did they shift more towards like, oh, you're a blogger now and we're just followers?
No. You know, they reached a point where they want to influence you. That means you have to listen to us. Even though you're broadcasting to a large audience, you have to listen to what we think and say exactly that. But actually, I have a few close friends, school friends, with whom I've completely lost touch, because any of my actions are tied to my posts. It's seen as some kind of hype, a way to make money, not as a way to share a dream with others. I believe it really depends on a person's personal attitude, how they relate to what someone else is doing. And there are actually people who come and try to control me, telling me what I should write and what I shouldn't because I periodically engage with my audience. When significant events happen, I need to understand that I'm moving in the same direction, and periodically I cut off such people myself, because I'm creating an eco-friendly community around me. I like to share, as I share openly and with almost everyone. I want to share with people who support me. We're on the same wavelength. So periodically, yes, some people get cut off and some come in. Well, it's sad, of course, that some people are leaving with whom we shared many stories and many years, but there's nothing you can do. That's family life. Even though they are against it, we still maintain a great relationship, and we often call each other via Zoom through video calls. I hope we'll see each other soon someday.
Listen, about the people who have essentially, how should I put it, physically fallen out of your life. I mean, it's clear that you still call each other and so on, but how easy is it to maintain physical contact with these people in some way? Because that might also be one of people's fears. I'm, again, speaking from my own perspective for now. So, for example, family and close friends, it doesn't matter. So, when I go out to sea, I realize that I won't be able to see them for quite a while. And here's the question, how often have you managed or even wanted to spend time with them? How often do you invite them over? Or do you spend time together in some way?
We always invite them over to our place. In the past, a lot of people used to come to visit us, but now it's a bit difficult with visas. So there are very few acquaintances. We always invite people over, but since we're constantly on the move and not returning to our starting point, we hardly have any personal contact. So people can come to us, but we're not going anywhere for now. We got involved in Spain, Germany, France, and somewhere else in Portugal, because it's great there. Of course, I want to go home. Maybe someday, after some time, we'll manage to do that. Visit. Vasily really wants to go to Moldova again. I think that at some point in the not too distant future, we will definitely do that.
I got it. I asked this because, of course, I'm not on a yacht. When I also moved, so to speak, to the sea, some contacts got cut off again, and it seems like I'm inviting friends and family saying, "Come over, it's great here, there's the sea, the sun," especially of course, in good weather and the right season. But with all that, one thing is that you invite them. And another thing is that these people still don't make it. So it's like, yeah, we really want to. But in the end, nothing happens.
We've even had stories where people have already arrived and are in the same city as us. And damn it, they need to take all those photos that are on Google, and they have to visit all those places to get their pictures. It happens that you're really in the same place, but you just can't manage to meet up.
Yes, absolutely. I completely understand and acknowledge what you are saying. Look, I believe that this will indeed be the final question of this particular series. Am I correct in assuming that? What do you find to be the most enjoyable or fulfilling aspect about living this life we have? Well, that's kind of two parts to the question. And what was the hardest thing in the story that you went through? And you can tell it in reverse order if you want. So, what was the hardest thing specifically for you? I'm not talking about those 6 months when you were bumping into the corners of the yacht and so on.